Well, hey, life groups, I hope that you are ready for what should be a really fascinating discussion, hopefully a positive one, given that in the text that we looked at this week, Jesus had nothing positive to say to the church at Laodicea. But in his critique, there are a number of big metaphors that Jesus uses as images of their spiritual condition and ultimately what he's inviting them back into that I would encourage you to dig into and reflect on by going back and kind of working through the whole talk. As a summary, though, Jesus comments on how the church is leaving a bad taste in his mouth, like they're drinking water, failing to be hot or cold, failing to be soothing or refreshing because of their spiritual independence. That's actually a result of their affluence in three key ways in Laodicean culture, but ultimately as a result of their economic oppression and injustice and the systems and behaviors that they're engaging in, particularly through these different kind of economic features in their society, their banking, their fashion, and their medicine. And so what Jesus, through all these metaphors, invites them back into is to trust in him, to respond to the knock on the door of their hearts that he and his love is providing. And if they do, they'll not only enjoy relationship with him, but they will rule together with him, ruling described like it was in Genesis chapter 1 in God's original vision for humanity, to take a special place among his creation and to exercise dominion, not to be confused with domination and oppression and injustice, but rather a stewardship that serves as caretakers of the world around it, especially its brokenness, to ultimately, with Jesus, be a soothing and refreshing agent in our world. To me, the question really got personal when I understood that Jesus, through John, shifted from addressing the whole church as a community or our church as an organization and began to address them personally and individually. Because I think for us, there's a big difference in the degree to which our church has centered on Jesus to live out that mission and be that kind of soothing agent compared to the individual lives that each of us are living. And so what I want to encourage us to do today is to consider the big questions that I felt have defined us as a community for years, but applied to each of us personally, and to work through some of those. They're in your conversation starters today. Questions like, if I suddenly disappeared, would anyone around our society even notice? Am I increasingly living in the direction of those that society seeks to margin? Is the financial pie of my life increasingly being invested in compassion and justice related things? Is my privilege being used to enhance those of less privilege, or is it the product of an increasing gap and economic disparity between the haves and the have-nots? And in the bottom line of a faith that ultimately expresses itself in love, is your faith and my faith and our faith together expressing the love of Jesus in a real and personal and practical enough way that it is increasingly being soothing and refreshing to the people around us? This is a significant conversation, I think, for us, not just as a community, but especially for us personally and individually. So I hope that you'll encourage a safety and a free flow of conversation among each other as a life group. I'll be praying for rich discussions in a way that allows us to not only recenter our lives and hearts on Jesus and Jesus alone, but a way that can receive his love and express his love, particularly toward the kind of people that Jesus most centered in really soothing and refreshing ways. So I wish you a great conversation. All the best. Take care.